Welcome back. Dante Moreno here. Trucking Thursday. We are Moreno Global.
Sir, it's me, Junior Moreno. You already know.
Eric Santiago, logistics coordinator.
Joshua Gracian, logistics coordinator, head salesman.
There you go.
Hey, good one, man. Good one. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. What's a freight dispatcher? Let us know.
To me,
Let the audience know.
I think with a freight dispatcher, the actual term is it's a third-party representative that can actually have a carrier, get negotiations, make phone calls. It basically has the transitions from point A to point B smoothly with a good freight dispatcher. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what it means to me, at least. I don't know what you guys think or what you guys' term is.
Obviously, it's somebody that represents the customer, which is the carrier that they're working with. To the audience who don't know, a dispatcher, they got a very important role if they put in the time and effort to actually do their job good, because there's a difference, man, between good and bad.
Correct.
Somebody that can actually work for you and work with you good. So
I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree that a freight dispatcher, what they go in is basically the stuff that you're not able to do while you're on the road. That's what a freight dispatcher is. Something that you're not capable of doing, whether it's your Wi-Fi or whatever what you can do. Or just like that, save time or actually be fast and actually getting those loads. Mm-hmm. That's what I agree on.
Mm-hmm. They represent your company.
That's a
good
deal.
freight dispatcher.
That's a very good one. Very good answer.
So let's go ahead and break this down a little bit, guys. When do you think a carrier is going to say, hey, do I need a dispatcher? What's something that maybe y'all can throw at the audience? Maybe they're going through it. Hey, do I need a dispatcher? What are the benefits of having a dispatcher?
I say I got a call maybe last week. Hey, man, I'm in Colorado. I can't move. I can only scale to 6,000 pounds. I'm a 40-foot hot shot, but my wheels are not there to make it, man. You think you can get me back? And I was just like, damn, man. Like, if that guy only had a real dispatcher would have told him, hey, man, you ain't doing shit with 5,000 pounds.
Somebody that's limited to that amount, hey, you know better not to send them to those types of regions. I mean, it's just not
terrible.
One thing I do want to say, another key thing that will let a carrier know that they need a freight dispatcher is when they're constantly going through places, you have to email the broker, take pictures, call, make phone calls, and then you also have to call them for your next load. What if you ain't got no signal? What do you do? What if you're delivering somewhere that is a bad spot and no one knows where you're at? Who's gonna tell them? Who's gonna call? You're gonna have to deadhead back just to get some signal? A freight dispatcher can come in and coordinate everything with the broker or a customer and let them know when they're supposed to be there. If they're not, hey, I know where the truck is. I have
I've had that happen to me on the road, man. Whenever I used to work for my brother, we would basically dispatch our own loads, and it would be complicated. Sometimes you would be literally, you have a computer next to you. You're looking, it makes it hard for you to look at the road, and that's a big thing whenever you're actually moving the load.
I mean, somebody that
be
says,
careful. It takes up a lot of time. No, sorry. And you just gotta be careful, man, when you look for a dispatcher.
Okay.
That's right, man. But I mean, the main thing is whenever some of these people say, maybe I need dispatchers, because, after driving for so long, those drivers, they sometimes need a break. They need some shut-eye. Mm-hmm. They want to rest. Mm-hmm. They don't want a dispatch. Being a dispatcher is truly a full-time job. Whenever that truck is moving, your communication has to be on point. But still, it gives the carrier, the driver, a little peace of mind knowing that somebody's working for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
somebody's doing the work.
Yeah,
exactly.
Another good point. I mean, you'll know you need a new dispatcher or you need a dispatcher. And for instance, if you're moving freight at $1.40 a mile and that's all you're getting, you're not making any wins. You're not profiting. Because you're not profiting. He for sure is, because that guy's pocketing everything you have to pay him.
A little percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I say responsibility goes a long way whenever you actually decide to get a dispatcher, because you want someone, like I said, someone that represents you and actually makes you money. Not just basically gets you anything under 180 a mile.
So I mean, let's go into that. So what type of dispatcher do the carriers and people getting into the business need to stay away from? I feel like that's really important, because anybody can say, hey, I'm a dispatcher.
They need to stay away from people that cannot communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've seen that before with other people, where they just basically don't communicate, and then by the next day there's an issue. Hey, well, you didn't tell me anything. Whenever you gotta deliver,
they're scared of the pressure.
Yeah, basically. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if someone can't, can't pick up the phone, can't communicate with the broker for you. I mean,
No,
it's just bad.
I think
It's
like another
really
thing.
bad.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that. But one thing that I should suggest to a carrier that wants to look for a dispatcher is stay away from someone that doesn't know how to actually fight for you. When I say fight for you, I'm talking about fighting for that money. Fighting for, like, you know what, the broker messed up. The truck got to site. He can't take the load no more because it was the broker's fault or the customer's fault. And the broker's like, okay, bye, you can leave. No, you don't want a dispatcher like that. Hey, my truck went there. My truck's gonna fight for me. You know, I'm gonna get $200 tone or something like that. You want somebody that's
For
responsible.
example, what happened yesterday?
Yeah, I actually had like a driver.
He didn't want to answer. The broker didn't want to answer.
Yeah, the broker did not
How
want
many
to
times you
answer.
call that guy?
Oh man, too many.
You had me call
Too
him
many
too.
times. We had to call from 2 phones. Because, I mean, the guy was not answering, and I was like, hey, man, I sent him an email, tell him, hey, I called him, and then he answered. He's like, oh, I'm not in the office. I'm like, well, we got to figure something out. Give me your boss's number because I need a tow new. We need, we'll fight for, here at Moreno Globe. That's what we do, man.
No, that's
Somebody that can't deal with that pressure, they'll just be like, oh, and they'll come up with an excuse.
Right.
Find somebody that can fight for
Someone that's not organized, stay away from them as well.
I'd say something, in my opinion, is somebody that actually doesn't know what you're hauling, how much it costs you to haul that, how much it costs for your truck to move,
You're worth,
or where you're bringing your truck to. Like, I mean, if he's bringing you to Florida all the time, he's bringing you to fucking Massachusetts, you're in bad spots all the damn time. You just know, you can tell right away what kind of dispatcher you're trying to get or what you're getting. Because, I mean, that guy's making his money and you're over there busting your ass, not making the money coming out. You don't want to get stuck 3 days, 4 days in a row, 2 days in a row. Somebody that doesn't understand, hey, you got a radius. Hey, we didn't get shit today. 150 miles, let's fucking move. That's what we didn't see, because that's what we look around. We look at 150 mile radius. So you guys got to
in the game, basically.
It ain't always that far.
A little bit coherent
too, but I mean, you open in different spots. Whenever you send a carrier to a certain region or location, you know that, hey, an experienced dispatcher, you guys know it's pretty slow here. We got paid to come in here. Let's take a backhaul going somewhere else.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to shoot for a smaller rate that understands, hey, you're not gonna go, let's say, into Florida. You're not gonna go all the way to the west in California, Utah, and come out with a container. So it's not worth it.
I know this is really biased. Sorry to interrupt you, but this might be really biased. But I'm gonna just be 100% honest because these brokers don't put up with shit. They're fast as hell. They got another 1,000 people calling behind that phone number. If your dispatcher can't properly speak or understand English, you will have the hardest time out there. I've only dealt with 5 brokers that were Hispanic, and maybe some other brokers that weren't a different race. But I'm telling you right now, most of these brokers are English-speaking brokers, and if you're not able to even give them a phone number in a matter of 10 seconds, they will hang up that phone. So that's a big issue. You're talking to somebody that doesn't really have good
They get confused. Like, oh, what am I doing?
Just imagine someone that can't speak English properly. They'll hang up quick. Hey, you don't know?
Next call. It ain't worth it.
Whenever I was stuttering a little bit, and the guy's like, "Hold up, so is your MC this or that?" And he didn't wait. He just hung up the call.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was only because I messed up. But it's like some little details that they see, they don't care. They're just like, we don't have time.
I'm not even lying to you.
Tell me the right number.
I had the guy's profile down. I had his number there. All I did was accidentally click on it, and it freaking went back to the freaking middle of the home screen. And the guy was like, "Hey, man, what's the number?" And he just hang up straight hang up.
Oh, it was they asked for a number as well. They don't wait. If you can't tell them the number they put out to see what loads they have, they don't wait.
I think it's very important to look at who is.
It's also very important to read the notes that are put on these rate sheets.
Yeah.
If you guys get a hold of some dispatchers, they tell you, hey, you ask them, what am I moving? And they're like, oh, everything's on the rate sheet. Hey, break it down. If you had a conversation with the broker, they're going to tell you what you're moving, what's the commodity, what's the weight, what's the height, the length. And then a driver gets there, it's something completely different. The dispatcher's like, oh, well, I sent you the rate sheet. It's both of our jobs. Unfortunately, it's both of the jobs to go through those documents and paperwork. But if they don't do that,
that's why you need someone responsible for to represent your company.
That's why you need a good freight dispatcher. Good.
There's a ton to stay away from. A dispatcher can hurt and even put your company in the dirt.
But let me tell you this, bro.
Go ahead.
Before I interrupt you, are dispatchers hurting the trucking community? Do you think that just dispatchers prohibit you from making the right amount of money, or are they benefiting you from making around what you need to start benefiting from your business?
To that point, I feel like certain dispatchers are hurting the trucking business a lot, because some of them, whenever they get desperate, like, hey, I gotta move this truck, they're calling me. They're some dispatchers say they're annoying me. Hey, that's your client, man. Show them some respect. Have the respect to answer their phone calls and let them know, hey, these are our options. But a lot of dispatchers are the ones that are accepting cheap freight, and then that allows a broker to go back and say, hey, well, I hauled this before for this amount. Somebody took it for this amount, so you got to take it for this amount. Hey, man, I'm not them. I'm not looking to go home. I'm looking to make some money. This is my rate. If you find somebody that takes it and I no longer see it, I won't bother you. But if you need me, here's my rate. You can call me back with all due respect. This is who I am.
No, it's true, man. I've had a couple companies come on when they came on and work with us. They tell me, hey, man, I'm over the load 1,200 miles. They're only paying me 2,000. You know, like, you know, it's weighing 16,000 pounds. You know, these guys, the CDL drivers should not be making anything less than $2.20 a mile when it's a CDL weight requirement. They got other guys that are telling me, hey, man, I haven't made profit all year. I've been at this a year. Haven't done it. He came over here. We got him back where he was at. He was like, hey, it's the first time I've actually didn't have to put money on my bank account. It's because you're getting dispatchers that are going to be trash, and you got to find the real, actual dispatchers. We're not just
I want to give an interruption, man. I actually have an example. One of the carriers that I actually moved, you know, it's not been long since they've been on, but they told me, they're like, hey, man, the last dispatcher I had, he would take me to, like, places that pay good, basically, which are like bad spots, you know. We always say that some places they will pay really, really, really good just to go out in the middle of somewhere, and they can't get a back call. So sometimes they're just like, oh yeah, I see a big number, let me send them that way.
But they don't see the rate per mile.
Yeah, and they don't, you know, they don't see whenever you gotta come back dead, either deadhead or something that's not paying good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are like things, you know.
One thing I do want to say, guys, is like, no, if you're a carrier, to the carriers out there, and you got like I said, you got a good dispatcher, and he knows that, you know what, he's taking care of you guys. For example, I was moving this company, and it was a load coming from North Carolina going to Indiana. It was 500 some miles, and I told the guy, like, hey man, 2,000 pounds, no tar. Yeah, I'll take it for 1,100, which is over $2 a month. Not a deal. But I told him that's my rate, and his first thing was like, well, I usually get this one for only 800. I was like, hey man, well, this is my rate, this is my number, like he said. And within 15 minutes, the guy called me back. You know what, I'll take your truck.
But, and also that case, that leads to it. Sorry, you can go ahead. But what these brokers also look for, they're strict. Dispatchers sometimes make it harder for trucking companies to join in because of the mistakes that they make. And also, whenever a broker is struggling to move freight, why is that? Because somebody's messed up, or hey, this dispatcher is giving them an MC that may have freight guards and all that. So a broker, has no choice but to choose the best option. They don't want to go to somewhere that might scam them, someone that's going to screw them over, damage their freight. They're going to go after somebody that has a reputable company. And if a dispatcher can help you build yourself to that point, that's in the trucking business, that's where it goes, man. Your reputation.
I mean, for instance, in my experience, you know, you're saying that they can dispatcher hurt your company, but they can definitely hurt your freaking company. They can put you in a damn out of service, or in a they can put you down, or he can put you where you need to be.
Claim.
I had a driver
get you in claims.
Yeah, I had a driver in Kansas. There was a load going deep Kansas, over there, right there by Colorado and stuff. I told the guy, I was like, man, if we go over there, I'm gonna have to have him deadhead Oklahoma City. He didn't want to hear none of that. He said, what am I gonna charge him to do this freight? So I charged him to go to Kansas, all the way in the end. I'm telling you, it's right there by Colorado, and all the way back down to Oklahoma City. I charged him $2 a mile, and he accepted it. He didn't ask me questions, but that's what you need. Like, I mean, a dispatcher can hurt you, but they can also put you on the spot.
Someone's gonna stand their ground. Hey, this is what my carrier is worth.
Yeah, because I mean, and I didn't charge him $1.50 to go to Oklahoma City. I charged him $2 a mile, empty freight after we unloaded it.
That's good, man.
That's what you need. You need somebody that's gonna know what they're doing and know what.
It also, it's gonna help the next guy, because they know, the brokers know that, you know, they got a certain amount of money in it that they can charge for certain rates to make their shipments happen, and that's what you got to do.
No, it's true. Like, the thing that I do want to say, guys, is like, again, back to having a great logistics coordinator. When you actually speak, like, you know your stuff, you know what you're talking about, brokers, even though it can be a hot load, that broker, if he's speaking to a logistics coordinator that knows what he's doing, and he got a complicated load, a complicated freight, it's hot though. He will book with that person that knows what he's talking about versus the others don't. Even though there's probably like 1,000 people calling.
Yeah, they'll call you back. You'll be like, hey man, are you gonna have this guy again at certain spots?
But that's a good feeling, right?
Heck yeah. You know, they'll call you and they'll be like, hey man, you got that guy. Like, I know you sent him over there or something.
But even as that, they'll ask you, you know, you got that truck or somebody else that you work with. These brokers that know that, hey, you have certain dispatchers, I want to work with you because you're punctual. You know that you attend to your drivers. You ask them questions. You're on top of the drivers. Because it's drivers that they can sometimes make mistakes. They forget. And everybody forgets nowadays. But there's certain things that you just can't whenever you're, you know, dispatching and building a relationship with every single one of these brokers.
No, it's true. It's very true. I mean, all the time I get brokers telling me the worst rates. I'm talking about, I had a guy in Corpus Christi. Remind you guys, Corpus Christi's trash. If you go to Corpus Christi, just know you're in a bad spot. Well, I had a guy there, CDL driver.
Shout out Selena.
No, I'm telling you, man, there was a load picking up 20 miles away from him going to Oklahoma. 13,000 pounds. CDL weight, by the way. Guy said, I got you $750 right now. I said, man, I can't do that. I was like, that's not even $2 a mile. It was a 513 mile load. And I was like, and it's heavy. How am I supposed to do that? I was like, can you come up to 1,050? He said, nah, man, that's the most I got is 850. I'll tell you what, I told him, you know what? I was like, you'll find someone else, not me. And I found another load, 520 miles, going all the way for 1,200 at 10,000 pounds. So, I mean, that's stuff like that right there that brokers, they'll feed off. Like you said, hey, man, I moved this for this much rate. Not us, not who we are. That's not what we're about to do. We're not about to waste money so that they can get paid. We're not doing that. We're about to make money so you guys can get paid, and we can just make sure you guys are moving.
Yeah, because if you find a dispatcher that, you know, whenever you first talking to somebody, you're gonna ask them the question. You know, hey, this is what I need to be at. Here's my minimum. Here's, you know, what I have, my equipment. So that right there, it helps a dispatcher. But if you get a hold of some of these dispatchers that they don't pay attention to these certain things, and you tell them this is what I don't want, this is what's going to affect me or cost me more money, and that's the first thing they do.
I think excuse me, I think one thing that we talk about, like, stay away from dispatcher. So an example would be if they don't give you an option whenever, you know, you're into a bad situation or something. You know how we usually be like, hey man, I had one of my drivers, I told him, you know, there was a certain state he didn't want to go to. I'm like, hey man, if you don't want to go to that, you're kind of limiting, you know, to our locations. That, you know, so basically what I'm trying to say is a dispatcher that can give you options, that's a good thing. But if a dispatcher that can't give you no options, that's something to stay away from. Honestly, that's a big thing because
there's no delay of the landing.
Because that's really why some of these dispatchers, they do hurt the business. It sucks to say,
we gotta say, I mean,
don't give those guys the opportunity to make it worse for everybody else, which is the truth. Tell them I'm strict with it. And if you get a dispatcher that doesn't give you the option, hey, you have your strict requirements and they already book a load, and as a carrier, you should know what happens when you fall out. A fallout will affect you. Next time that broker has a good load or one of these shippers has a good load, no, you're a fallout. I don't want to give you this load. Well, I couldn't take the load. It wasn't for me. But as a dispatcher, don't force freight on these carriers.
Yeah, and I got a hot topic right here. This is 100% out for all you truckers, everybody who's driving, everybody has a company. If everybody were to get together and stop taking these cheap ass loads, brokers will have to start paying more. They won't have enough people to move freight if you guys just all got together and at least said, hey, I'm not moving shit at a certain amount of mileage, at a certain weight, or where it's going. Because I'm telling you guys, these brokers, they got you guys by the hands. So you guys got to manipulate the system, get back to where you're at.
Take cheap freight.
Every time I book a load, I charge them at least $200, $300 more than what they give it to me.
That's whenever you start going against, you know, hey, there's good brokers, there's brokers that actually, there's brokers that have been they've been behind the steering wheel, they've been drivers before. They know that these trucks have to make a certain amount of money. So, I mean, let's go ahead and close it there, guys, because our next thing, next Trucking Thursday, we're going to talk about freight brokers. We're going to get into that and actually talk about, you know, the difference between a good one, a bad one, how to build a relationship with these freight brokers, let them know where you're at, and most of all, how to keep a reputable company. That's who we are. again, we are Moreno Global, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming on,
But you
man.
know, thank you guys for
Appreciate
joining
it.
us. Appreciate you. Be safe. Got stuck about
Is
an
he
hour and a
gonna
half
what?
of traffic in Atlanta. Yeah, no, he's gonna
Josh,
get there by
Josh,
10:30 in the morning.
Josh.
Oh, one second. He's gonna get there by 10:30 in the night,
Josh.
but he'll be
Bro,
there
wait, no,
first
you
thing in the
man,
morning
tell
at
him.
8.
Tell him we'll
You
come
gonna be in
back.
this or what, bro?
Yeah. I'll get in there right now. Just one second. Hey, man. Yeah, no, definitely, man. No, so definitely, like the guy's gonna
Bro,
be
see,
there.
that's
in the
the thing
morning
about
tomorrow morning.
dispatching.
I definitely can tell you.
You know,
that.
We'll call it
I know
dispatch.
for sure.